always keeping it TV47. It is time for the Daily Report and the People's Court, and we'll be getting to that conversation that revolves around the transition from the 844 system to the competency-based curriculum. Indeed, a tremendous transition for the country, bringing a lot of reforms in the education sector. But of course, it comes with a lot of challenges. And of course, the latest challenge that we'll be looking at is that transition of grade 9 students. Just how well equipped are our institutions is what we'll be asking this evening, even as the government, alongside, the entire education sector, is committed towards making sure that indeed there's that proper transition so that our students do not have to face it rough come 2025. Just how ready are we? We'll be getting to that shortly, but also we have lots lined up for you in relation to news. Today I am alone. Victor is not here, George is not here, but the show must continue. And so before I get to tell you my name and the sign language interpreter's name, I think it's important that we take a look at the highlights. On the Daily Report tonight, President William Ruto in Kisumu.
Ama tuendelee, tuunganishe Kenya iwe moja, tuondoe ukabila, tuondoe chuki, tuondoe migawanyiko.
He continues to preach unity and condemns tribalism in the lakeside city. And government says it has disbursed 3.7 billion shillings to health facilities this week. Kenya shillings 1.25 billion being for payments of pending NHIF claims.
As we speak, more than 8,400 facilities have since been contracted, and they are offering services to the public.
Kenyan government says it is working together to resolve the abduction of Uganda opposition leader Kizza Besigye after he was abducted in Nairobi.
We believe that the issues between us and Uganda, where there are any concerns, will be resolved diplomatically.
Also tonight, men in Kayole Valley have turned to fight gender-based violence in pastoral communities.
Tulipopata mafunzo sasa tukaona kumbe tuko na shida kubwa. Kumbe watoto wetu wanapitia chungu mzima ya matatizo. Kwa sababu ya kuolewa mapema, kukaketwa kama bado wadogo.
As 16 days of activism enters the second day. The Daily Report begins right away. My name is Linda Alela. Our sign language interpreter is Rhoda Jamai. As always, the hashtag is the People's Court. I'll be looking at some of your comments as we continue. Now, President William Ruto says that his government will not back down from taking action against those in power who are determined to drive a wedge between Kenyans in what appeared to be an indirect attack to his former deputy, Rigathi Gachagua. The head of state said that he will not spare any politician from promoting politics or ethnic division and discord. Mike Agungu with the details.
Speaking while addressing Kisumu County residents Tuesday afternoon after official opening of the 4th Africa Sub-Sovereign Network Conference, President William Ruto highlighted how his administration will not provide any room for those spreading ethnicity, hate and disunity.
Munasema tuunganishe Kenya iwe moja. Munasema tuache ukabila na kutengana na chuki na migawanyiko, na wale wote wanaoshiriki ibada ya ukabila na chuki na migawanyiko waende wapi? Waende wapi? Waende wapi? Watembee wapi? Wataenda nyumbani.
Kibwezi West Member of Parliament Mwengi Mutusa, in his 10 violation points against Gachagua, cited breaches of the Constitution, corruption and incitement. The legislator charged Gachagua with making statements that incite ethnic division among Kenyans. Accusations Ruto says will not be taken lightly in his administration.
Hakuna jamii itawachwa nyuma tena. Hakuna sehemu itawachwa nyuma tena. Hakuna Wakenya watawachwa nyuma tena. Tutatembea pamoja, sambamba, bega kwa bega, ili tuhakikisha kwamba Kenya imeungana na maendeleo inapatikana kila sehemu.
In addition to reportedly favoring residents of Mount Kenya region when it comes to disbursing resources from national government, Gachagua was also accused of staging the region against other regions in the country. President Ruto stated that the reforms implemented with his new cabinet aim to streamline the majority of the sectors in order to better serve Kenyans, while also highlighting the necessity of establishing a broad-based administration.
Kisumu hoye!
Ruto's statements coming while in Kisumu has been translated to an attempt to woo the region once again, attributing his achievements to bringing Raila Odinga on board to work for Kenyans.
Nikasema siku moja nilisaidia Agwambo. Na safari hii yeye amerudisha mkono, amenisaidia mimi. Mimi nawauliza, iko makosa hapo?
The Ruto-Gachagua relationship has been deteriorating since the impeachment process, with Gachagua's security detail fully withdrawn on Sunday. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, thank you, Mike, for that. Now, a petition has been filed at the Court of Appeal seeking to reinstate the ban on GMO use in the country. This comes after the High Court this month dismissed all petitions challenging the ban that paved way to the regulations set by the National Biosafety Authority today on GMO use in the country. Sheila Chelangat with that.
The petition filed at the Court of Appeal seeks to have conservatory orders issued to stay the orders lifting the GMO ban in the country. Filed under a certificate of urgency, the petitioners want the court to issue fresh orders barring the implementation of GMO ban lift, noting that its effects cannot be reversed even if the appeal succeeds. This move by the petitioners stemming from the landmark ruling by the High Court on the 7th of November dismissing all petitions challenging the lifting of the ban on GMO use in the country. Justice Lawrence Mugambi ruling that the matter had already been addressed by the Environment and Land Court in a previous ruling. The court also stating that in its findings, it had established that adequate safety measures were in place to mitigate any health risks associated with GMOs. 3 weeks later, this ruling has paved way for a significant shift in agricultural policy that could impact farming practices nationwide, with the National Biosafety Authority announcing new regulations for GMO activities today. These guidelines aim to ensure that all GMO-related activities are conducted safely. The regulations also requiring entities wishing to engage in GMO activities to obtain approval from the NBA before proceeding. The initial ban on GMOs, which lasted for over a decade, was imposed in 2012 due to concerns about health risks and environmental impact. However, in October 2022, the cabinet made a pivotal decision to lift this ban, aiming to enhance food security and adapt to climate change challenges faced by Kenyan farmers. For now, many stakeholders now wait on the Court of Appeal directions on this matter that has sparked mixed reaction. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
All right, tonight, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has wrapped up a 6-day marathon tour in West Africa that is to drum up support for his candidature at the Africa Union Commission. During the tour, Odinga visited 6 countries in the critical bloc of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, where he championed the role of regional economic communities and promised to implement regional infrastructure projects. Apollo Kamau reports on a day Mauritius candidate Anil Gaya withdrew from the race after the country's new Prime Minister supported Raila Odinga's bid.
On a day his campaign received a major boost after Mauritius dropped its candidate Anil Gaya. This after the country's new Prime Minister Navichandra Ramgoolam backed Odinga's bid. The former Prime Minister wrapped up a marathon tour of 6 West African countries in the critical ECOWAS bloc, starting off with Benin, Ghana, Togo, Gambia, Senegal and Nigeria, where he met President Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday. In total, Odinga met 4 African heads of state, except in Gambia, where he met the country's vice president, and Benin, where he met the foreign affairs minister.
Si tulikubaliana kwamba tunaenda kumuombea ili awe kiongozi wa Afrika. Nikiongea na nyinyi saa hizi, juzi alikuwa kule Ivory Coast, jana amekuwa kule Senegal, leo ako kule Nigeria akitafuta kura ya kuwa kiongozi wa bara la Afrika. Nyinyi watu wa Kenya mtamuombea.
According to the head of Odinga's campaign secretariat, Ambassador Elkanah Odembo, Odinga's message to President Tinubu is that he is aware of the crucial role Nigeria plays in the ECOWAS region in matters of regional peace and security, trade and development. Odinga is said to have assured the heads of state that his intention is to support the collective aspirations of African leaders while being sensitive to individual member states' agendas. Odinga also campaigned on the platform to implement infrastructure and energy projects to create jobs for the youth and the need to embrace IT and artificial intelligence. In an ambitious, multi-pronged shuttle diplomacy campaign, President Ruto, in a Facebook post, confirmed he had a telephone conversation with Mauritius' new Prime Minister, who confirmed his support for Odinga, a move that means the country's candidate Anil Gaya has exited the race. Also lobbying for Odinga's bid was Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who tabled Odinga's candidature during the Interministerial Committee of the International Conference of the Great Lakes region.
Nimetoka Angola jana kwa mambo ya Great Lakes. Ukitaja jina la Raila, wanasema tunamjua huyo. Na ni mtu ama kiongozi ambaye anastahili kucheza kwa league ya kusaidia mataifa kwa bara la Afrika kuhusu mambo ya kidiplomasia, mambo ya peace and security na kadhalika.
Apul Kamau, TV47.
All right, and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has defended the government on the abduction of Uganda opposition leader Kizza Besigye, saying that the incident should not be used to judge Kenya harshly. He says that the two countries will proceed to resolve the matter diplomatically. And now Mudavadi, who spoke during a media briefing on 60 years of Kenya's diplomatic journey at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs headquarters, said that the incident should be taken as part of Kenya's foreign policy, terming Uganda as a strong partner of the country. According to Uganda's government spokesperson, Chris Bayomonsi, that is Besigye, who appeared in a military court in the Ugandan capital, Kampala, after his abduction in Kenya, said arrests abroad are done in collaboration with host countries although he did not mention Kenyan.
Excellency, we want to begin by having all the ambassadors and...
Uganda is a strong partner of Kenya, and we want to continue maintaining strong bilateral ties with the country of Uganda and indeed all our other neighbors. So I would like to say that the incident that you refer to should not be used to judge as too harshly on what would be Kenya's outcome or matters of foreign policy. We believe that the issues between us and Uganda, where there are any concerns, will be resolved diplomatically.
And now to something on health. The Social Health Authority has disbursed 3.7 billion Kenyan shillings to various health facilities to clear the debt left by the defunct NHIF. Patients can now access primary health care at select level 4 healthcare facilities across the country. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, all NHIF staff have been seconded to SHA for 6 months.
The new acting chief executive officer of the Social Health Authority, Robert Ingasira, has made his first public address since his appointment. Top on his agenda was to update Kenyans on the progress made in the rollout of SHA, which has been faced with immense challenges.
On the issue of Adani, the Ministry of Health signed a contract with a group led by Safaricom and the other two service providers, one being Apiero and another one being Convergence. Those are the three institutions that are a party to the contract that was signed between the Ministry of Health for purposes of providing the system that will help in digitizing the health space.
SHA now says that contracts with various health facilities has been finalized and published, paving way for facilities to sign the contracts and ensure enhanced service delivery.
And we are happy to report that that has since been resolved, and as we speak, more than 8,400 facilities have since been contracted and they are offering services to the public.
The SHA board has now given a green light to select level 4 hospitals who want to be contracted into the new health scheme and offer primary health care. This is aimed at bridging the gap in health service delivery at level 2 and 3 health facilities.
So a teenage mother going to a facility like Pumwani, for example, and he is assessed and found not to be in a position to pay the premium, will be paid for by the government.
Meanwhile, the defunct NHIF staff will know their fate in 6 months, upon which SHA and the Public Service Commission will facilitate suitability assessment and interviews for permanent onboarding.
And those who will not be lucky to be taken over by SHA will be returned to public service for deployment in any other public organization.
The Social Health Authority has this week disbursed 3.7 billion Kenya shillings to health facilities, 1.25 billion Kenya shillings for pending NHIF claims, 1.1 billion Kenya shillings for Linda Mama, and 1.35 billion Kenya shillings for SHA capitation payments. October claims under SHA will also be cleared this week, even as the authority continues to process NHIF claims. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
More on health, and Kenya and the International Vaccine Institute IVI have taken a major step towards strengthening vaccine research and production capabilities by signing a memorandum of understanding MOU, and the partnership aims to bolster the country's efforts in achieving self-sufficiency in vaccine production while addressing broader public health challenges across Africa. Speaking during the meeting, Cabinet Secretary for Health, Dr. Deborah M. Barasa, highlighted the importance of this partnership in achieving Africa's CDC's vision of producing 60% of the continent's vaccines locally by 2040. And Kenya has been selected to host the IVI country office and the Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities AVEC, and the project office marking a significant milestone in the country's leadership in health innovation and vaccine production on the continent. IVI Director General Dr. Jerome Kim commended Kenya's proactive approach, noting that the partnership represents a bold step towards advancing global health security through innovative and sustainable vaccine solutions. The collaboration also builds on Kenya's achievements in vaccine research, with institutions such as the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, and the Kenya Biovax Institute playing critical roles in clinical trials, disease surveillance, and workforce training.
MOU then will lead to various other engagements between us and IVI, where we are going to support. They are going to support us. One other key thing that we're waiting to do is the signing of the host country agreement between Government of Kenya and IVI, which is at the cabinet level, awaiting approval for the purpose of now setting IVI regional office here in Kenya.
The International Vaccine Institute is very proud to partner with the Kenyan government in what is a very large but very important part of Kenya's quest to become nearly self-sufficient in vaccine manufacturing and support the region with the provision of safe, effective, and affordable vaccines. So IVI is an international organization, so Kenya's joining was a very important step. And our reciprocal commitment to the government of Kenya is to move forward with something we call advancing vaccine end-to-end capabilities in Africa, because we know that a significant amount of effort has been devoted to vaccine manufacturing. But vaccine manufacturing by itself is not enough. You need an ecosystem that supports manufacturing. That starts with research and development, training researchers, training technicians who can work in a vaccine manufacturing factory, developing vaccines in Kenya, no longer having to rely on research institutes.
All right, stakeholders now want the tax laws and procedures to be amended and exempt small-scale businesses under the threshold of under 1 million shillings from the electronic integrated tax management system. Appearing before the National Assembly Finance and National Planning Committee, they submitted that the move will ensure that small-scale businesses are not disadvantaged by proposed amendments to the law. Moige William with that.
Public participation for the proposed Tax Amendment Bill 2024 for tax laws and procedures entered its second day in Nairobi. The Molo Member of Parliament Kimani Kuria-led committee opening its door to more views, proposals and submissions from interested parties. The Tuesday session saw stakeholders going heavy on giving proposals that they termed will result in a business-friendly tax regime to small-scale businesses.
Our proposal is then also there needs to be clarity on that one to ensure that these small businesses who do business with small businesses are not disadvantaged by such a provision where they will not be required, where their expenses might be disallowed because they are not ETIMS compliant by virtue of doing business with small businesses.
Representatives from the dairy industry also weighed in into the exemption of small-scale businesses being exempted by the Kenya Revenue Authority from the electronic integrated tax management system, arguing that it is a burdensome aspect for small-scale dairy farmers.
I can probably decide that anybody who supplies less than 100 liters a day be considered a small farmer, and therefore exempted from the ETIMS requirement.
Ask is if you're able to tie the threshold for ETIMS to what is provided within VAT Act, even for the big boys, it will be easy for them to determine which taxpayer will not need an ETIMS and which will not.
The Finance and National Planning Committee also heard from stakeholders on the proposals to amend tax regulations to allow business owners to pay all the taxes required in a single day and once a month, as opposed to the current regulations that dictates, for example, remittance of withholding tax within 5 working days.
Is if we can consider just having 1 day for compliance of all the tax obligations, as opposed to having varied days. In the alternative, if that is not something that you're able to consider, then can we move back withholding tax to once a month, in line with what we have seen, the benchmarking we have seen in other countries?
The submissions made to the Finance and National Planning Committee heavy on a business-friendly environment. Members of Parliament have been urged to come up with policies that are business-friendly to the small-scale businesses within the country. Moige William for TV47, KICC, Nairobi.
Thank you, Moige, for that. Now, members of Parliament have raised questions over 400 million Kenya shillings expenditure on renovations of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua residences in Nairobi, Mombasa and his office, allaying fears of misappropriations of funds. In a meeting with Security Committee members of Parliament, they said that the expenditure was done through officers from the office, but they insist a lot is yet to be done. It was also revealed that 108 officers who worked in Gachagua's office were laid off since their term was tied by the holder of the office.
I think on the issue of renovations, you can also just give us a more detail on the scope of works. the 500 and something, what was it supposed to do? In the current, what was the whole amount supposed, the scope of work? Sorry.
Billion or thereabout. I think that's not pocket change. That is a lot of money. Are you convinced that this committee, if we do an oversight visit to those areas, will actually be able to put our finger to verify that indeed there's value for money in these projects?
Works, reinforced concrete works and masonry, walling of swimming pool, and change stroke washrooms of the guesting wing. We also installed local area network in the current residents, connecting current residents to the GCCN, telephone connectivity of current and Mombasa residents to Arambe House, Annex, and access control system. We also coordinated the disposal of identified obsolete stores, generating a revenue of 5,023,000, Honorable Chair and members. Finally, there is also the digitization of the Office of the Deputy President Asset Register as required in AFIP.
The principle as it were then. So at the point when we had the changes, their contracts were also deemed to have come to an end by that 31st of last month. As we speak right now, the processes of clearing them is going on to have them cleared and also to pay them their final dues as required by the law.
All right, that very story will allow us to go for a short break, and then we come back with more news.
Vile unavyojua watoto wengi sana hawana namna. Mimi ningependelea watoto wasome.
I'm here to stress on education. At the same time, let us actually do any kind of sport that we are doing. Sport speaks the best language to everybody.
Tunataka tutafute talents. Zile raw talents kutoka kule nyumbani mashinani mahali tuko leo.
Hizi mbio za Chepsaita, like all other sports, zinaleta watu pamoja.
We want to use this event to uplift the lives of the community.
Anafurahia hii mchezo sana. Hata sikaange naambianga watu tuende Chepsaita.
Wanafunzi wakimbie ili wakuze talanta ya mbio ama kuhimiza tena elimu.
This is the place to be. Hapa ndipo mahali wanastahili kuwa tarehe 7. Wale watoto walikimbia last year, wamekimbia mpaka wamefuka mipaka zetu za Kenya.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora.
Gongo Jehova. Hii mchezo wa daka na mamili niliona kwa TV. So nikachukua simu yangu, nikaenda kwa lipa na M-Pesa, nikaweka 440440, alafu nikatuma. So nikaambiwa mimi ni mshindi wa shilingi 250. So nikafurahi sana, nikaita familia yangu, tukasherekea, tukashukuru Mungu. So hiyo pesa nitalipia fees na nitaongeza ukulima.
Nenda kwenye paybill 440440 account Daka amount cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka Mita, kuwa bingwa.
Welcome back to the Daily Report. Before we get to the People's Court, allow us to take some more news. And in a bid to end gender-based violence in the community, men in Kayole Valley, West Pokot County have been on the forefront in fighting the vice. And this has led to increased number of young girls who could be out of school now to access education. As the country marks 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we tell you the story of men who have done extraordinary efforts to safeguard rights of vulnerable women in society. Take a look at that.
As the world marks 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a group of men in West Pokot County have done extraordinary efforts in safeguarding the rights of women, not just in the community, but also at their workplaces.
Tunaambia Mungu saidia sisi.
Our journey leads us to Morpus village, Chepareria area in West Pokot County, where we meet Josephat Tome, a man who, through the support of a non-governmental organization, Peru Rays of Hope, has been able to educate his girls, and some of them already employed and others still in school.
Tulipopata mafunzo sasa tukaona kumbe tuko na shida kubwa. Kumbe watoto wetu wanapitia chungu mzima ya matatizo. Kwa sababu ya kuolewa mapema, kukeketwa kama bado wadogo. Na unajua sababu ya kukeketwa ilikuwa ni mtu msichana keketwa ni kwenda kwake, hakuna kitu kingine. Tukaona hapa sasa kuna masomo. Na tukashuhudia karibu kila mara mtoto akifika tu standard 4, 5 kwa sababu anaenda shule kama wamechelewa. Tulikuwa tunashughulikia wavulana peke yao. Lakini tulipopata hiyo mafunzo na tukaona umuhimu wa msichana kusomeshwa, tukaona ni afadhali tupambanie hii.
Tome further tells us how women are forced to undergo female genital mutilation and drop out of school at the request of the husband-to-be, a vice that has demeaned women and girls in the region.
Watoto wamepata nafasi sahihi ya kusoma kwa sababu kama hawajakeketwa. Kwa sababu kukeketwa wana hiyo imani ya kwamba ile msichana ile mwanamke sasa amekuwa mwanamke ya kuolewa ni yule amekeketwa. Lakini hata kama msichana amekuwa mkubwa na hajakeketwa na anaelewa hakuna mtu ana haja sana. Lakini hiyo yote baada ya kuona sasa kumbe ilikuwa kwa sababu kuna mafunzo pia. Tuletu mpaka wakalete wafulana.
A group of young men here in West Pokot County vowed not to marry any woman who has undergone female genital mutilation, a move that local authorities rubber-stamped, issuing a stern warning to culprits who will be found taking part in the vice.
Ukipatikana tu ati unayekata mtoto, wewe unaenda jela direct, hakuna kumbeleza, hiyo automatically unaenda jela. Si ati tunambeleza na wewe. Tunataka watu wasome, wakuwe walimu, wakuwe daktari, wakuwe tu kama mimi.
Kuanzia leo msichana mwenye wamekeketwa sisi hatutaoa, sisi kama vijana tumesema hivyo.
A few kilometers from Makutano town, we meet Caroline Menach, who has been championing for the rights of girls and women in the area. She shares with us the effort she has put in educating men on the negative effects of gender-based violence, applauding men for their efforts to fight GBV.
Na mwaka huu tunafikisha mwaka ujao itakuwa miaka 30 tangu hii kuhamasisha community kuhusu gender based violence. Tukiangalia katika takwimu za Kenya sasa mwaka huu zaidi ya wasichana 100 wameuawa kwa sababu ya hao kuwa wasichana ama kina mama. Unapata mama na watoto wake wameuawa kwa sababu ni wanawake. Na 16 Days of Activism Against Gender Based Violence ilianzishwa 1995 ili hamasisha communities kuwaeleza ya kuwa kina dada hao pia ni binadamu. Tuwapatie nafasi wajijenge kiuchumi na wakue katika meza pamoja na wanaume. Wapatiwe nafasi ya kuongea kuhusu miradi ya maendeleo, lakini sio kufinyiliwa chini kwa sababu amezaliwa mwanamke. Kwa hivyo hii siku 16 tunaomba jamii yetu nzima, Kenya yetu nzima, tuweze tukakuja mbele na tusimame na kina mama.
Meet Resian, not her real name, a Form 2 student who was rescued by Menach after the parent forced her to drop out of school and get married. Shocking details of how women undergo gender-based violence in communities, but only few manage to escape.
Mtu wako na pipi watano, mimi ni wa 6. Sasa huyo mtu ananiambia eti tulale na mimi vile nilikataa. Au wakaita watu nje, wakaita wengine nje ati kuja tushike huko. Watu wakuja wakanishika sasa. Mtu mwingine akanishika mguu. Mwingine huyo mwingine akachukua toja anrebeleka. Sasa vile nilipiga nduru huko. hao watu hawasikii maneno yangu. Anasema nyamaza wewe.
Cases of women whose rights have been violated by men have been on the rise for the past 2 years in pastoral communities. But through such initiatives, men are now coming out strongly, not just to condemn, but also to warn women who have been taking part in violation of human rights, such as FGM, in the region.
Well, that beautiful story compiled by Andrew Juma, as well as voiced by Elizabeth Atieno. And now to more on the same, as the country enters the second day of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The government, in collaboration with non-governmental organizations across the country, have engaged communities to educate the community in a bid to eliminate GBV and create a safer environment for everyone. This is Anastasia Mukabi details.
As the country intensifies its campaign for the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, sexual violence remains a persistent crisis in Tana River County. These activists mobilized border operators to raise awareness addressing the pressing issue that demands urgent decisive action.
Kijinsia hapa Tana River sio nzuri kwa sababu ziko juu, kesi hizi za dhulma ziko juu.
Mara nyingi mabodaboda pia wanahusika kwa hiyo maneno, lakini sasa uzuri wamepata mafunzo kidogo ili kuepukana na hiyo maneno ya dhulma ya kimapenzi.
Due to the rise of early pregnancies in Kayole County, Governor Fatuma Achani called on the residents to report sexual violence cases at police stations instead of solving them with the local chiefs and elders.
Chifu si kazi yake kuzungumza kesi ya ubakaji. Kesi ya ubakaji peleka straight, mtu apelekwe ndani, mambo yaishe.
While GBV against women is more prevalent, men and boys are also victims of GBV. In Vihiga County, men and children have been mentioned as the main victims of GBV. However, the majority of affected men remain silent out of fear of facing stigma.
Over 800 cases of gender violence in Vihiga County. Vihiga is the most affected in Kenya today.
And this is because of culture or cultural norms or the beliefs in the society and the issue that you'll not be a man enough. I think we should come out of the cocoon of the cultural norms or societal norms and come up and report so that they get justice, rather than you find that we'll get burying more men than women because men don't speak out. But we are calling them to speak out.
Gender-based violence requires a united effort to empower survivors and educate communities about GBV to ensure that everyone can live in a free from violence and fear environment. Anastasia Mukabi, TV47.
All right, thank you so much, Anastasia, for that, as we commit as well to join the world on this 16 days of activism to say no to gender-based violence. Now, Kenya Forest Service, in partnership with the government of France, has launched a forest fire management system, a digital radio network and early fire video detection that aims to counter fire outbreak cases in Kenyan forest by providing about 24/7 surveillance in the country. And of course, Quinto Wafula reports this technology and how it is expected to bolster the national goal of increasing forest cover to at least 30% of Kenya's landmass by the year 2032.
Inside the command center at the Kenya Forest Service headquarters in Karura, Environment Cabinet Secretary Aiden Duale, alongside other stakeholders, has shown how the new surveillance system, which uses cameras, will be utilized for forest patrols and communication to coordinate necessary services. Stakeholders are then introduced to vehicles equipped and ready to handle emergencies, such as forest fires.
Introduces cutting-edge technologies for fire detection, for fire surveillance and suppression, and it includes drones, advanced firefighting vehicles, PPEs, and training to equip the Kenya Forest Service teams for effective response.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale lauded the introduction of the technology, emphasizing the Kenyan government commitment to prioritizing environmental conservation.
So our commitment to the protection of our ecosystem and transformation of our forest is real. Our commitment is one that the President himself is leading with the 15 billion tree growing campaign.
The French Minister for International Cooperation, Mohamed Soilihi, described the project as a transformative initiative that will significantly benefit Kenyans, at the same time pledging French commitment in working with Kenya in more projects.
The project will strengthen Kenya's resilience to climate change and benefit sectors such as agriculture, water management, and tourism.
The official launch of this monitoring technology around forests in Kenya aims to help in conserving these forests, hence upholding the government's aim of planting 15 billion trees by 2032. Quinto Wafula, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, great strides there. Now, a Labour Cabinet Secretary, Alfred Mutua, found himself in a difficult position, explaining it to the youth in Baringo County just why Kenya is exporting labour to other countries, yet the country can create employment through reviving industries in the country or in Kenya. Now, the CS said that the country has many labourers that cannot be absorbed in the country, but rather be exported. Paul Kirubi with that.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua was put to task on Tuesday to explain why government is exporting labour rather than improving the country's economy by reviving industries that will help create employment in the country.
Especially here in Baringo, we have a lot of fruits. We can have industries. How many people will be employed? We have meat. Tuko na mbuzi, nyama kutoka hapa Tiati, Arabal and other areas. Why don't we have an industry, especially kama hiyo ya Maoi? Tukuwe na industry ambayo itaemploy watu wetu wa Baringo.
The CS, however, says that the country right now has more skilled labourers, defending the labour export.
We have more doctors than we can absorb. That means people going overseas.
The CS also acknowledged that there has been incidents of job seekers being conned by rogue recruitment agencies. This has contributed to hesitancy among some Kenyans regarding approach of seeking jobs abroad. Speaking at Baringo National Polytechnic during a recruitment exercise, Dr. Mutua reassured participants of the government's commitment to fairness and transparency, warning that any agency engaging in fraudulent practices would face the full force of the law.
All right, Naivas Supermarket has signed a partnership deal with Airtel Money Kenya that will allow Airtel Money customers to deposit and withdraw cash across Naivas branches countrywide. The deal is part of Airtel Money's proactive strategy to expand its agent footprint and get closer to their customers. Speaking during the signing ceremony, Airtel Money Managing Director Ann Kinuthia said that the partnership will significantly bolster their ongoing efforts to enhance access to financial services for their customers through their mobile money platform. Naivas Peter Mukua, Chief Operations at Naivas, as well as lauded the partnership, noting that it will go a long way in actualizing Naivas' promises or Naivas' promise of offering unmatched value and convenience to their customers at an affordable rate and convenience.
Partnership with Airtel brings exactly that. Why I say convenience, you don't have to shop and go elsewhere when you're withdrawing your money. You don't have to use any other forms of payment. You can use Airtel to pay for your goods and services. You can also pay your bills at Naivas outlets, again using Airtel Money. So that is convenience. When we say value to our customers, is bringing that service at the right value, and that's affordability. And I think we all know that Airtel Money is the most affordable way of transacting in today's Kenya. So we are very happy to have joined with them, and we hope that we'll provide exactly what we've promised to our customers.
As we know, Naivas is the fastest growing retail chain in Kenya, and so is Airtel Money Kenya Limited. So we are launching this partnership to bring convenience to our customers across the country, where they can now go to any Naivas branch across the country to deposit and withdraw, and again they get their withdrawal charges back as airtime.
KT's Supermarket has opened a new branch in Meru. Customers and the residents of Meru at large have now been urged to shop and take advantage of the offers and discounts on various products during the Christmas holiday. The outlet is seeking to expand its network across the country by opening more branches.
Sports news brought to you by Maybet. Bet Bila Stake. Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybet.com.
All right, preparations for the 2024 World AIDS Day Half Marathon are almost complete as organizers seek to raise awareness on the need for men and boys to pay attention on their health, and particularly with regards to HIV and AIDS. The competition, which has been organized by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council, will take place at Nyayo National Stadium on Sunday, the 1st of December 2024. It comprises of the wheelchair race, the 5-kilometer fun run, the 10-kilometer run, and the main 21-kilometer race. The start point of the races will be at Uhuru Highway for all the races. Elite runners will traverse Westlands back to the Central Business District before making their way to Upper Hill and back to the finish line at Nyayo Stadium. Registration is ongoing.
Every individual has a role to play in the health journey of our nation. This half marathon is a call to action for all of us to actively support the critical health goals, including HIV testing, treatment, and virus suppression.
Encouraging men to see if they can test. So this year's focus is on boys and men, and we are very happy. It's going to be a game changer. Men need to be at the forefront of the fight against AIDS. We are racing against time. We're supposed to end HIV and AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. It's 6 years from now. It's the last steps of the race that keep on getting harder and harder.
Indeed, today as a country, we have been able to reduce new HIV infections by about 83%. The deaths have reduced by about 64% in the last 10 years, but we still have a number of challenges remaining. So we are going to celebrate this year's Wilderness Day to symbolize our diversity and participate within our social and cultural awareness across the country, across the 47 counties.
And it is really amazing that within the short time that we have worked together, I've seen a lot of work that has been going on. And we have come to understand now what it's all about, especially when it comes to issues of AIDS.
The 2024 Professional Darts Corporation Championship takes place next weekend at Jacaranda Sports Club in Nakuru County. The two-day competition has attracted 168 top players from across the country and Uganda. 400,000 Kenya shillings is up for grabs in both the men's and women's category or competitions. And this tournament comes weeks after Kenya hosted a World Cup qualifier in Nairobi, where Kenyan qualified for the Global Championship in 2025.
We are expecting that by Thursday, this coming Thursday, we'll close the registration so that we are able to organize for the tournament. So far, about 60 players have registered for this tournament.
Nakuru players are going to understand the difference between amateur darts and professional darts. At the end of this tournament, we expect them to have joined the Pink Flamingo franchise.
We have seen the professional darts players get good pay. And as we see, we are seeing it coming here in Kenya since we had World Champion that was held in Nairobi. And out of that, we got one player who is going to represent Africa in UK.
All right, and after failing to advance the Women's Football Top Flight League in Kenya, Kayole Starlets are eyeing promotion at the end of this season. Our sports reporter Duncan Mutua set base at their training camp to find out how they intend to do this.
The Kayole Starlets missed out on promotion last season, and this season they are back on the field with fresh energy and clear vision. In 7 matches they have already played, they have lost 1, winning 4 and registering 2 draws.
Last season tuko tunajaribu tupande toke NSL tufike Premier League, and the same hii season mpya is the same objective ya kujaribu tutoke NSL tupande kwa Premier League.
Tunataka kurudisha timu yetu Kayole Starlets Premier. Last season hatuku make it, but this season tutajikaza, tupambane, to make sure tumepandisha team Premier League.
As the team gears up for their next fixtures, currently they are on top of the Kenya Women National League table, having bagged maximum point against Uweza Football Academy.
We are still working on our weaknesses. Now we are still also trying to improve on our strengths. And
at a time, game si rahisi na game si ngumu, ita determine the way tuna train kwa tizi ndo tuna apply pia kwa game.
They are focused on setting new standards, sharpening their tactics and building a winning mentality after inclusion of some key players who have top flight football experience under the guidance of coach Mary Adhiambo.
This season tumejaribu tukaenda for good quality players from the WPL. Tumeteremsha wasichana kutoka huko juu tukawachukua because we want to we were working on our objective ya kupanda ligi because ligi si rahisi na inataka quality players and also inataka a very good technical bench ile na work pamoja closely in order to achieve.
While the new approach of the season is promising, the team has faced challenges which include adjusting to the fast-paced tactics. They are confident in the ability to overcome these hurdles with determination.
That last season we didn't have a good team, but our preparation ilikuwa poa sana. Pre-season tulipiga poa sana na it almost worked for us. Nile tu corrections tu kidogo zile tulitoka nazo from the previous season.
Last season, Kayole Starlets had one objective, to play in the top tier league. They did not achieve that objective. This season, they have gone back to the drawing board to achieve the objective that they didn't achieve last season. Are they going to achieve? My name is Duncan Mutua.
All right, thank you, Duncan, for that. The very same story that allows us to take a quick, short break, and we have lots lined up in relation to that. A very important conversation. Take a look at the transition of the competency-based curriculum, and especially at this point where the country is grappling on, transitioning the grade 9 students. Just how set are we infrastructure-wise? The teachers and the students themselves, mentally, psychologically, where do we stand? Of course, come 2025, will we proceed, or we will have to tell our students to wait at home first before we are certain and sure? We take that break and then we come back to that, even as we release our sign language interpreter Roda Nyamai, and of course we have Makori Kelvin joining us.